Bro, so I added Paul Walker on Xbox.
What?
Yeah, he just hangs out in the dashboard.
Oh. Oh man. Oh. I don't know about you, but I think after making that joke, our careers are going to crash and burn. Hey everybody, welcome back to Swish and Perry. I'm Perry.
Swish.
And we're back with some more Resident Evil.
Calm the fuck down.
Oops, wait.
Oh, man.
Sorry, we're back with Blazing Saddles.
I fucking love that movie. Anyways, look at
good.
that guy. He's just fucking sitting there smoking. Except when
So
I
what do
smoke,
we-
I take one puff and then I just throw it out.
So, oh, your actual, like, Arthur's character, that's what he does when you try to smoke?
Yeah, yeah, watch. So, this is a cigar. Because it's good for Deadeye.
Yeah.
He didn't do anything.
Wait, did you use it?
Yeah, apparently.
Alright, cool.
Cigarette.
Nope. One puff. And bye-bye cigarette. Wow. Alright.
What a fucking waste.
So, feeling better? How's the scar?
Oh, man.
Dude, his face is fucked.
Lucky you.
Yeah. So what are we doing today?
You just laid in the bed
So I guess we're gonna talk about
Got something.
what was the question that was asked of us?
or- She's-
Oh, yeah. So, our
We're
friend...
just gonna
our-
jump right into that because right now we're just doing missions. That
Well, where
Sure.
exactly
this one's gonna
we
be
go?
fun.
So our good friend Chris, because fucking everybody's named Chris, so I don't feel bad throwing his name out
Seriously, how many Chris's do we know?
there. Wait, too many? Like in our original group of Destiny, there were 4 of us that were named Chris.
Air Force, Ronin, Rift.
Blackwater.
Ronan. Yeah, so there's 4 of us out of the original group.
Yeah. Wow. Plus, I know a few myself.
Right. So he sent us. He's been sending us some suggestions of things he thinks that it would be funny for us to talk about on the show, which is good that we've got somebody recommending these things. So the question that he actually literally just sent us, I don't think he even knows that we're about to record. I think he just sent it as a recommendation for later.
Literally 10
Was-
seconds ago.
You was at that.
Well, it was like right before we started recording. Yeah. So the question that he sent us was, "What's the dumbest thing that you got in trouble for at school?"
I'm gonna let you go first.
All right. So, I was actually homeschooled for most of my life. I went to a private
That's
school.
why I'm letting you go first.
Yeah, because I have less stories. So I went to a private school for when I went to kindergarten, and then everything after that, my parents homeschooled me. I'm pretty sure it's because of some of the things that I did for the very short amount of time that I was in school. So
That's funny.
the best story, or like the story that's standing out the most to me as I'm thinking about embarrassing and funny things that I did while I was in school was we had PE one day, and I think we usually did it in some kind of a gymnasium or something.
Wait. Hold on. When you're that young, isn't it just recess?
Don't you wear yourself out?
No, like we actually had like a PE class. So that was like we actually had like a uniform that we were supposed to wear for PE, and we would like go do things and whatever. So I think like usually we did it in a gymnasium, but for some reason that day we went outside. And so our uniform was like gym shorts and a t-shirt or whatever. And I really, really had to pee. So
Oh,
I was
God.
I was on like the far side, like on the outside of like, cause we were all standing in rows. So I was like on a row that was like on the outside where there was somebody to my left, but nobody to my right or whatever. And So I was like, man, I really, really have to pee. And I think I was all the way in the back, too. I was like all the way in the back right-hand corner of our group. It's like, I really have to pee. So I just, because when you're a guy, you can aim and pee where you want to.
Just wherever you want.
Yeah, so I just stuck my thing down one of my gym short legs, and I just peed on the ground right next to me. And
wow,
one of the girls in like the next row over, I guess, heard the sound or whatever, and turns around and looks at me, and then just goes, "Ew," and then tells the teacher. And then I immediately, get a red card, and I get sent to the principal's office.
A red card?
Yeah. Did you have like the card rating system?
Yeah. I just forgot that we're talking about. I don't know. For some reason, I was picturing like a 15-year-old Chris.
No, I
forget that we're talking about like.
I was like
5 or 6.
Yeah. Yeah. So I literally just peed in the middle of the parking lot or whatever that we were standing in.
I mean, that's what's up. That's how you do it right there.
Yeah. I was like, when you have to go, you have to go. And so then I got sent to the principal's office, and I think my parents had to come pick me up, and they had to explain,
pissing on the ground.
Yeah, they had to explain to me why it's not okay to do that while there are people around. It's like, if I really needed to go, I should have asked the teacher and whatever.
I mean, yeah.
Yeah, but it's like, I'm like 5 years old, so it's like, what the fuck do you expect
give a shit.
Yeah, it's like, I'm like literally a 5-year-old kid who's outside and needs to pee. Like, I'm probably just gonna fucking pee.
I mean, that's the way you do it.
Yeah, but yeah, that was like the first story that popped into my head when I read that message. And there's probably more to it that like went on. I just don't really remember, because you know how great our memories are.
Should bring your mom back on the show and ask her embarrassing stories about you. I'm sure she's got plenty. I'm sure.
I think one of my favorite ones of me embarrassing her was it was still while I was actually at that same school, and we were doing an exercise where we were talking about opposites. So they were like they're asking so what's the opposite of hot? We'd all say cold or whatever. So I guess the teacher asks what's the opposite of clean, and my response was the van.
I bet your mom loved that.
Yeah. And then I think there was like one time where they asked like how do you make toast or something, like I forget how, like whatever the question was, but somehow like how do you make toast, like that question got brought up, and I was like, well, you put the bread in the toaster, you let it sit there for a while, and then when it's done you scrape off all the black stuff in the sink and then you eat it.
Oh man. You don't change, do you?
Nope. I think that's like one of the things that's like so great about like there is a humor to be found in a child's understanding of the world, because they're so naive and they can't really grasp like concepts or like analogies. Yeah, no, for sure. But it's like a lot of kids, they can't really grasp.
Got dirty as fuck again. Look at that.
Whoa, yeah, because he was pure white, wasn't he?
Yeah. I went and got that horse off camera for those of you that don't know.
Yeah.
I was testing out the new graphics card.
Oh yeah, which is a lot
no
better
more stuttering. Yeah, I fucking love it. So my not embarrassing, but funny story is, and I think I may have told you this. I might not have. I don't know. When I was in high school, I think sophomore year, I want to say sophomore, junior, I used to get in trouble a lot. But in high school, for some reason, because I did so much stuff, like I played basketball, was in drumline, did a lot of stuff. The vice principals, I don't know, for some reason liked me. Well, one in particular. So I never really got in trouble all that much. And one day, I was... you still there? It got real quiet.
Yeah, no, I'm just listening.
Okay. It was weird. One day, it was before first block, which was like the first class of the day. I had band first block. Wait. Ooh, I should have got a longer scope. He wants me to shoot near him? Okay.
Shoot near the rancher's scramble. I think you just shot his horse.
the job done.
I mean, it happens.
Looks like one of them got scared too easy.
I mean, he took off running.
Shot in close. He'll get the message.
Not that close.
Me and shoot right. That ought to do it.
Well, I mean, it happens. So,
I
anyways,
like how fucking passive aggressive that guy is.
super passive aggressive.
Oh, I love it.
So, anyways, I was in the band room, and
Get down there.
first thing in the morning, and I'm there with a few friends. I won't say any names, just in case they ever hear this. I don't know. That
They all run off on
it doesn't really matter, I guess. So I was in there with a good friend of mine back then.
Vladimir
and,
Putin,
he was
Donald Trump, Bill
yeah,
Gates.
right. My buddy Will. He was the drumline captain, and then our buddy Brian, who was also one of the snare players. Anyways, they're there, they're practicing, they're doing stuff, and I have this music stand in my hand. And I don't know if you've seen music stands in like from school back then, but like
They were like the fucking big, like heavy ones, right?
Yeah. So I was pushing it all the way in, had it like all the way in, and then I was swinging it as hard as I could, and it would just automatically extend. And I was doing this for like 30 minutes with one of them, and I was just bullshitting with them doing this. And like for some reason, I don't know why, but this chick came in who was the drum major at the time, who for some reason like she loved hanging out with the drum line even though we couldn't stand her. Which is
That seems to be
important to the story.
That seems to be how a lot of people are, though. It's like they don't realize when they're not wanted in a situation, and then continually put themselves in that situation.
To her all the time. I mean,
Yeah.
she's cool. She's cool now. If she ever hears this, she should know that like no hard feelings. Wasn't on purpose. But I think we've run into each other since high school. It's definitely a lot cooler now. But
Did you
anyways,
say sorry at least?
oh. So what had happened was I was swinging this thing, and she comes walking in the band room, and I was like, "Hey!" And I swung it at her, and then it would like extend.
Right.
Except this time it snapped and knocked her the fuck out. Yeah. So
You just got knocked the fuck out.
Yeah. And I had to like calm Brian and Will down because they were went from their chairs to rolling on the ground laughing. And I was like, guys, stop, this is serious.
Meanwhile, you're like, Jesus, dude, she might have a concussion.
Oh yeah, no, and it was like they had a track meet that night, and she was like the star track, like fucking.
Oh no.
Yeah, star track runner, like fucking. It was awesome.
She was a Star Trek runner?
Yeah, star track runner. Exactly.
Yeah. So does she live long and prosper?
You fucking heard me. All right. So she, so she gets up eventually. I don't know how long, but the
Beam me up,
fucking
Scotty.
coach. I don't know like how much time passed. I just know the next thing I know, I'm getting drug out of the van room by the fucking track coach. And I'm up in the fucking vice principal's office, and luckily it was the one that liked me. So, and the coach is just screaming like, she's gonna have a concussion, she can't run tonight, rah, 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 and just like going off, and I'm just sitting there like, oh my god, like I'm in so much trouble. This is so bad. So
Cause I'm in too deep.
Yeah. So they ended up, he tells the coach, don't you have a class to be at? Why don't you go do that? And I'll handle this. So they all leave, and then she's like, Joe, what were you thinking? And I was like, dude, honestly, like it was not intentional. He's like, do you hate her? And I was like, I mean, I don't like her.
Oh no.
But I was like, it wasn't on purpose, I swear. Like I would never do that. And he's just like, all right. He's like, do you have any classes with her? And I was like, no, it was just first block band. And he's like, okay. He's like, can you be somewhere else? First block for the next 3 days? And I was like, yeah. He goes, all right, I'm gonna tell them I gave you 3 days out of school suspension. Just don't show up for first block the next 3 days. And I was just like, thank you, God.
Wow.
He's like, sit out there until first block's over with, and then go to your next class. And I was like, thank you. So I got out of trouble for it. I didn't get in any trouble for it, realistically.
Right.
But yeah, that was pretty bad. I mean, I probably have 1,000 stories about dumb shit I did in school, but that one was That one will live with me forever because that was so crazy how that one worked out.
Yeah. Well, it's funny because like I'm trying to think of any others that I can remember from when I was in school, but like I was so young, I really can't remember any other like specific things that I did that were like.
I was just not a good kid. Like I wouldn't say like I was bad. Like, you know, I didn't get like, I don't know, like I passed my classes. But like in middle school and primary school, I just acted out a lot and did dumb shit all the time. And then in high school, like everything changed. Like I don't know why. I think maybe it was just the stuff I got into. Like I always had like that one vice principal that was just like, don't do that. Like,
so you went to the same high school for all 4 years?
I went to the same school all.
Oh, it was
forever.
one of those multi-grade.
Yeah. Like it was Lecanto. You had Lecanto primary, middle, and high. So
Gotcha.
Yeah, it was just you just moved to the next building.
Right. Yeah. See, it's so funny because we grew up. We moved around a lot when I was a kid. So like I remember some of the schools that like I would have gone to if I was actually going to public school. So, like when we lived in Japan, there was an elementary school on base. So, like, I remember seeing that school and some of my friends that went there. And then when we first moved to North Carolina, when we were living in New Bern, there was about that time I would have been getting into like close to the middle school age. So that would have been H.J. McDonald was the name of that school. And then New Bern High would have been where I had gone to high school if I actually went to public school. But like I said, I just ended up being homeschooled the whole time. So it was funny because then we got to when I got to my last 2 years, so my junior and senior years of high school, there was this really cool program that they had at the community college there, the local community college, where if you could test into it, you could actually, like if you tested well enough, you could actually apply for and take college classes at the college while you were still in high school.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah, you could do that. You could do that with at my schools.
Yeah, which was really
the college
cool.
Campus like right around the corner.
Yeah, so it let me get credit for my high school classes, but then it also gave me the college credits for it, which was kind of cool. So like when I finished when I finished high school, I actually had like several credit hours of college already done. And then I decided I wanted to take a break from school for like a year, and I just worked. And then I started going back to school, and then about like 3 months after that, got offered a full-time position at the news station, and I was just like, do I want to go to school full-time and spend money, or do I want to work full-time and make money?
I mean, you could go to school full-time and then make more money when you're done.
Yeah, but
student loans, fuck that shit. I don't have student loans.
That was like that was the reason. I think that was the biggest reason I actually decided not to do anything with it. And it's funny now because now I actually kind of and I think also too, like I never liked school the whole time I was going. I never had that like love of learning or anything. Now I do, but then I didn't.
Look at those eyes, dude. He's about to get vicious on everybody.
Yeah. Oh shit. Fucking Arthur is gonna. Oh. Holy cow. I always like these like the bullet time moments like that are pretty cool.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Sorry,
yeah,
now
like I definitely
focused.
you got a lot of intense stuff going on right now. But yeah, I definitely didn't have that like natural love of learning until I would say like probably a year ago. Like it took me that long, and which to me really speaks to just the school system in general, how it's set up with the testing and stuff. It's like you don't get to choose anything that you are interested in. You're told this is what you have to learn. And I get it, because I think there are good like fundamental things that we should learn, but like realistically there's certain things that I learned that I'm probably never going to use in my entire life. Like it's cool that I have like a general knowledge of it, but it's like I had no interest in learning it, yet I had to learn it. And I think if people approached it, which this is something that I actually think is really interesting about like the way that ancient civilizations worked, which like a lot of people think of the Greek civilization as one that was actually very affluent at its time. And I would agree. I think the Greeks had a lot of things figured out and did a lot of really good things. I think they did a lot of really stupid things, but you know, we live and learn. You know, that's just part of human nature. But one of the things that I always thought was really interesting is the young children, if they didn't want to go to school, they didn't have to. And if there was anything specifically that they wanted to learn about, they would go to, you know, or they wanted to practice or whatever, they would go specifically to the people that worked in that field or whatever, and they would just shadow them, and they just treated it like an apprenticeship. You know, and that was how you learn stuff. So it's like then you only learn the things that matter to you, which I think overall, I think that actually makes society more productive. If like I think the way that school is presented is a way, it's like a thing that you have to do. I think we should be, you know, given a way to like get a general understanding of a lot of things and kind of and see how like certain things work. But we shouldn't necessarily have to be tested on those things, if that makes sense. So it's like you can learn about them, and then if they interest you more, then you decide that you want to go take the next step and learn more about it. Then if you part way through that, you decide that it's not for you, then you just move on to the next thing. Because I think humans are we're such like a distracted creature all the time by everything that's going on around us, that I think we're actually a lot more productive if we can focus on a much smaller group of things. So especially when you're a child and you're kind of still developing and everything, and you're forced to learn this huge array of things that at the time might seem like they have absolutely no bearing or meaning to you, then you're going to be a lot less willing to want to learn those things, and probably even less likely to retain those things after you're done. You know, that you're going to learn to develop a way to memorize the stuff enough to in your short-term memory to get through the test, and then as soon as the test is on, you've probably forgotten most of what you were just tested on.
Yeah.
But so I think there's like certain things that I think unfortunately there's like certain things that we've kind of become set in our ways with, and we're not willing to look at like new ways to make them better, because it's like, oh, it worked for this generation, so it's going to keep working moving forward. It's like, no, I think stuff should constantly be, you know, changing to fit. What's that?
Oh, New Way to Be Human.
Oh, yeah, maybe. I don't know. Switchfoot?
Yeah.
Actually, they've got some interesting stuff that they talk about on some of their albums. And they've got some really good songs too. I got to see them live several years ago. It was a very long time ago, but they have a really, really good live performance.
Yeah, I saw them live at Cornerstone.
It's one of those bands like you can tell that they've all been playing music for forever, you know.
Forever.
Yeah. But yeah, it's like I think it's like, you know, we should constantly be, you know, trying to make things better, and not just, I think, you know, there's like that whole saying of like, if it ain't broke, don't fix it kind of thing, but it's like the only way we make progress. Yeah, but it's like the only way we make progress as a culture, as humanity, as a civilization, is fixing things. Even if they aren't broken, you fix it to make it better, you know. Like, it's like the same thing with fucking video games, you know.
Yeah, so, we always want to like do better than whatever. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, it's never.
And I think a lot of people
ever
are very,
enough.
Yeah, and I think a lot of people are very hesitant to change because it's uncomfortable at first. You know, like let's say, you know, you work at an office where everything that office has done for the last 100 years has been pen and paper, you know, straight down to hard files. You put it in a filing cabinet. That's it. That's done. Everything's dealt with. It's super easy.
Then all of a sudden, inconvenience.
Yeah, barely, super easy, barely an inconvenience.
Right.
Then all of a sudden, a corporation comes in and says, "Hey, we're gonna, you know, like let's say we're gonna buy out your company, and one of the first things that we're gonna implement and put in is a filing, an electronic filing system, so that we can have everything in a query and it's in one place, and it's so much easier to find and faster and more convenient." But the downfall to that is now you have to go put in all that information manually so that you have the way to access it again. You're going to get frustrated because, one, hey, I've already put in some of this information before. I wrote it down by hand, or, you know, whatever. I got it in there. and now I have to, now I have to go and redo all of it in a computer just to have it do this, and the system's confusing and it's hard to learn and it's different and it's not what I'm used to. But then if you actually stick to it and learn it and get used to it, all of a sudden you're like, oh my god, I can pull up a file on Miss Smith from 73 years ago in 2 seconds, when it would have taken me, I had to do a lot more work on the front end to get it to this point, but now it's so much more convenient, and I think that's
sense.
like, it's human nature that it's like we don't want to change, but like 90% of the time when we're presented with a change that somebody says this will probably make things easier, it will probably make things easier, and I think that it's like it's really easy for us to kind of get consumed in, that the only thing that we understand is what we see around us now, and we don't want to move forward and make things better and stuff. But I think realistically it's like the only way we can, continue, because things now are like so much better than they were, thousands of years ago. But even back then,
are they though?
Well, I would say so. But even back then, like, there were people who lived in what they consider luxury, and we look back on that now and we're just like, holy cow, I can't believe that they thought that was great. Yeah. But I think like we should always be doing that. But in every aspect of our lives, not just our living conditions. I think we should be doing the same thing with how we approach learning, which I think it's really funny how, especially here in America, how much more prevalent apprenticeships and tech schools are becoming, because, students of your and my generation, really, we're growing up and realizing that it's like, but it's like we're growing up and realizing that it's like, oh my God, if I want to go to medical school and go through all that and get my student loans to do that, because, realistically, you're not ever going to be able to work full time and go to school full time. I mean, maybe you can, but you're a fucking animal. So that's like, 95% of people are not going to be able to do that. I would say that they're just not going to have the energy and the drive to do it. But so for most people, the alternative becomes that you need to get student loans, some kind of financial aid to get through school. Problem is, medical school is like an 8 to 12 year long endeavor, depending on what field you're going into. So in addition to the 12 years of school that you've already done as a base, is what we've decided is the standard for our country, you now have to do an additional 8 to 12 years on top of that. Which means that by the time you've actually finished that, you're almost 30, and now you're going to go start looking for a job. And then the problem now becomes after that, because you've gotten, student loans and financial aid, especially if you're going in something like some kind of medical school, you're probably coming out of school with tens of thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of dollars that you're in debt. So you're already at a negative as soon as you start working, that all of your money, not only do you have to pay bills for your housing as soon as you start working, you're now also going to have to pay bills for these student loans that you've taken out. So by the time you get done paying them off is probably about the time that you've retired, So it's like, at what point does like the value of the education get outweighed by how much it actually cost, because like of how much you actually make. Now there are certain fields. Oh my God. And I would say, there's definitely certain fields where you're going to make that money back a lot faster and be able to pay off, your student loan debt like way quicker than others. But there's certain ones where you still have to go through a lot of, school. So like psychologists, they still have to get a doctorate's degree, because that's still a form of medicine, so they're still going to have to go for their 8 years or whatever. But I guarantee you a psychiatrist does not get paid anywhere near as much as a surgeon does.
No.
So how much longer now are how great of a gap does that create between how much longer it's going to take for that person to actually be able to pay that off, and then, and not have a, this debt ceiling just hanging over their head all the time.
Yeah. I barely graduated high school. I went straight into what I'm doing now, and I've been doing it pretty much ever since.
Right, and
so, like, I make good money now, but I don't have any student loan debt and anything like that. I just didn't know what I wanted to go to school for. That was my biggest problem. Like,
Yeah,
I have no
and I think a
idea.
lot of people, actually struggle with that. That I think, like, I think unfortunately a lot of like parents put their ideas on children of like, they wanted to be a doctor, but they never got the chance to. So then they tell their kid growing up, like, oh, you should be a doctor. So then the kid just thinks their whole life, like, oh, that's what I should be doing. Then all of a sudden they start going to school for it. And then they go, this sucks. I don't want to do this. Like I'm living out my parents' dream, not mine.
Absolutely.
But
Well, I think that's where we're going to end it tonight.
okay.
We got 2 missions done, and then we let you go on and on about how much you hate student loans.
Yeah, I think that the cost of education versus what it's actually worth in some cases is really imbalanced.
Oh, bro, I completely agree with you.
But
I have no real opinion on the matter because I don't have student loans or anything like that. But I do agree completely. I really think that that it's kind of ridiculous that you can spend $90,000, $100,000, couple $100,000 and never get those loans paid off for some people.
Yeah. Because there's some
Although
people.
some people get fine arts degrees like retards, and you'll never gonna pay that shit off.
or they go get like a degree in history, which is like, okay, great. Guess what job you can do? You can go be a history teacher.
Yeah.
That's it. Which is cool. Like I think that it is important, but it's like it's really limited as far as what you can actually do. So then it's like everybody who has a history degree, the only thing that they can do is be a history teacher. So then that like really narrows down that job market.
I mean, not really. You can get a job at a museum. You can work for the state doing like
be like a curator or something.
Yeah, there's actually a few things you can do.
Yeah, but I feel like the most common and probably the easiest one would be just to become a history teacher.
Become a history teacher and not make shit.
Yeah, which
That's exactly
the amount of money that must be going into schools from students and then never being seen by teachers. I would love to see what that deficit is.
Love it. Absolutely.
Yeah.
All right. Well, that's where I'm going to stop you.
Yep.
All right. We'll see you guys next time. Dude, his fucking Tiger King one is so good.
I need to watch that. I didn't even realize he did a Tiger King one. That's funny.
You sent it to us.
Oh, you're right. I did. I'm fucking
You
stupid.
fucking piece of shit.
I saw it and I sent it to you, but I didn't watch it because I was like, oh, I'll just watch the show first. And I'm pretty sure at this point, if I haven't watched the show, I'm probably not going to.
I can't believe that just happened.
I can.
Oh.
I gotta be honest. I'm kind of retarded.